There's a segment that I've been wanting to do for a little while because there's a point that I want to drive home, and it's a little bit, I don't think it's doomer, I just think it's kind of like the truth. The American media environment is reached a level of compromise that we haven't seen since the immediate post 9/11 era. I don't know if you guys remember, but, well, a lot of you literally weren't even alive. But after 9/11, there was exactly one opinion that you could have. It's not just a matter of patriotism. It is that every critical voice, every voice in mainstream media that was hesitant about state power, later on about the invasion of Iraq or earlier with Afghanistan, all of those voices were silenced. I mean that, like, they really were. In some cases, they just weren't hired again. The left-leaning or just more anti-government power individuals, people more skeptical of our role in the world militarily, they were not given a platform. A lot of them had their platforms ripped from them. Many of them chose to go silent and avoid facing the consequences. There are a million examples of this. I'm not going to waste time going through all of them. Everyone's heard of the Dixie Chicks and what happened to them. I'm not talking about that necessarily. Eventually, it became legal to disagree with the government again, but it took a little while. This happened during the Vietnam War as well, you know? Like, there was a point in time after the invasion of Vietnam where Americans were relatively okay with it because, you know, fighting communism and so on. And then after we started getting, like, video and TV and reports of what was going on in Vietnam, people really were not as happy about it. But it took a while for the anti-Vietnam War protests to ramp up to the point they did. And a lot of that was because for a time, if you were anti-Vietnam War, you were anti-American. You remember the age of McCarthyism, right? At least maybe you weren't there. I wasn't there, but you remember what it was described as, right? A period of time, the Red Scare, you know, professors losing their jobs because they were accused of being sympathetic to the Soviets. I mean, people all around the country, every field, every job, were scrutinized. It was a deeply authoritarian time. We are entering that time yet again. The media is captured. I saw this screenshot. It was remarkable to me. Right now, the Republicans are gearing up to tear this country limb from limb, you know, ruin it for everyone, left, right, whatever. These are notifications for new stories coming out from the Politico column after Joe Biden's pardoning of Hunter Biden, a move that I sympathize with, but ultimately think was a bad move. I mean, like, I don't really care. I hate Joe Biden. Hunter Biden, I still love, though. So I'm glad he's safe. These notifications are coming out at the same time as, was it Kesh Patel, the insane FBI director nominee from Trump? The guy who literally has an enemies list? The Republicans gear up to annihilate this country, to drive it into the dirt, to strip it down for parts and sell it to the, you know, highest bidder. And this is what Politico has to say. The media is deeply anti-Democrat. And that is not because the Democrats are anti-establishment. It's because the Republicans have done a much better job buying up media. It's the main reason the Democrats lost. It has nothing to do with how good a candidate is. After all, Trump's a terrible candidate, and Trump won. You know? It's about how effectively you buy up the media space. No one watches MSNBC. CNN has kowtowed to the right. Fox News is massive and only growing. And independent media has been bought as well. I saw these segments of Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, who again used to endorse Bernie, supported Medicare for all. Look at this.
Well, I wanted to stay out of the presidential election shit.
Yeah,
it's gross. Because I feel like I had to. I feel like this is so nuts. This is so nuts. When that Tim Walz guy, it's so nuts that guy was going to be the vice president. You're telling me, you're telling me this whole thing's fake then. You're telling me you don't care if someone's a liar. You don't care if they lied about their military rank, where they served. You don't care if they lie about being an assistant. You don't care if they lie about Tiananmen Square. There's too many things. This is so crazy. You would get fired if you were an assistant manager at a oil changing company.
But utterly, like, unbelievable, like genuine, like impossible to believe. You are radicalized to the right and to participate in the election because of Tim Walz, because Tim Walz said he was in China during a month, but he was in there during a different month. And he did not lie about his rank, but after he left the military, he didn't file the paperwork that allowed him to keep that rank after he left, so they technically demoted him one rank, but he did serve as that rank before he left. That's what rank with Trump. Trump was the other guy, the one you endorsed. A lot of people say this is him being stupid. Don't get me wrong, Joe Rogan is stupid. If he was smart, he would have done a better job lying. He's just bought. He's bought. He is bought and paid for. Same things happen to TYT. Same things happen to a lot of other media institutions. Folks, I didn't think it was this bad, but we're in like a 90-10 right now. The media is all right-wing. They're fighting an uphill battle because at the end of the day, to be right-wing is to be anti-truth, anti-love, anti-reality. But with regard to like, to what extent the media space is bought and controlled, it's all right-wing. And it's all gonna be right-wing for a while. It's done. I don't think you all understand the ramifications of this. We're talking about a level of media capture that's unprecedented in living memory. I mean, we're talking about every single day. You know, people often look back in history and they're like, well, how do people believe this at this point? How can people be so ignorant, you know? That's the media environment. But it's never been this bad. Or at the very least, it's never been this bad since the introduction of genuine independent media. But they've gotten that as well. Voices like, I mean, I'll be, you know, I guess like a little undignified and say it, but voices like mine or of other genuine left-leaning people, genuine left-leaning populists are going to grow more and more rare and quiet over time. Not quiet because they choose to be more quiet, but quiet in the sense that it will be more and more difficult for them to maintain this, you know, a presence within the platform. Every possible attack will be made against them. I know there's been like a protracted effort to remove Hassan from Twitch for being, you know, in like at some point perhaps inelegantly anti-Israel, as though there are not a million examples of people being inelegantly pro-Israel, and people aren't getting, you know, thrown off platforms for that. I guess Asmongold got banned for 2 weeks because he said Arabs are subhuman or something like that, but that's a pretty far line to cross. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's a line, apparently. Yeah, it just strikes me as particularly egregious in Joe Rogan's case because, like, again, when I say Joe Rogan's bot, I don't mean someone literally handed him a briefcase full of cash at like $100 million and said, hey, be right wing. It's not like that. You know, Joe Rogan already exists in a space that is very, 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 very susceptible to right-wing capture. You've got like Dude Bros, UFC, conspiracism, libertarianism, and he can see where the wind's blowing and just be right-wing because it appeals to pre-existing biases within his audience. You know, it's just following the wind. There are a lot of people who are going to be doing that. But that's still like being bought. I saw this clip as well. I don't want to play it because it's 5 minutes long. It's pretty crazy. This very shiny man. When did the US government get started with internet citizenship? It started in 2014. Edward Snowden rolling around in his not grave because he's still alive. With the Ukraine coup and counter coup. Basically, this guy's argument is that we couped Ukraine, you know, the ousting of Yanukovych, the dictator wannabe Russian puppet who was ousted in Euromaidan. He's saying we did that, and then we used the intelligence apparatuses we designed to manage that on ourselves. No mention of like Prism or COINTELPRO or anything like that. It's this guy's a Russian asset, basically. His job is to launder a Russian talking point, which is that Ukraine only broke from Russia because of Western interference. Joe Rogan has him on to express this uncritically with no pushback. This is what I mean by bot. Like, this isn't being done out of an organic interest to entertain an audience or to, you know, learn anything. It's like, you know exactly what you're getting with people like this. Retweeting Jack Posobiec. Well, congrats to David. Pleased to announce David Sachs will be White House AI and crypto czar. Okay. That's from... Okay. Global fascist coalitions. Yeah, I mean, it's capital is international, and thus fascism is too. Clown car ass ideology. Yeah, crypto and AI czar. You're just bringing on like every wealthy piece of shit you know. I fucking hate this guy's smile, man. He looks like a aged down Hide the Pain Herald. Do you think Joe Rogan is really right-wing or has no thoughts in the bald head? No. I think the question assumes the wrong... I think you're wrong to ask the question. It's not about what he believes. Like millions of other people throughout history who have been in positions of power and have acquiesced to and benefited from the worsening of that power, his beliefs are utterly irrelevant. His belief is that he should have money and power. That's the only belief a lot of these people have. Basically, what I'm saying is the West has fallen. But like, unironically.